Impossible.
And it's just a hunch. Like, I hope for them. It's top 4 in the group. Like a lot of their players, especially their coach currently, Kezu, is coaching crew of mine. So it would obviously be great to see them doing well. But they start out with arguably the hardest round in the entire group. So hopefully, regardless of how this goes for both teams, they get a good start, whether it's learning or winning or both. A lot of drafting to catch up on now, though. LGD with the first pick, IO, seems to be rated really high. Response with AA and Sand King, so as well as a Lycan coming up.
10 seconds.
AA classic counter to IO. It's the negating of the healing. Sand King with a stun to make sure the Ice Blast can connect on the primary target. Pretty common combination
and for
these two together.
as well.
And for Cold Feet, absolutely. And now they're going to grab Treant Protector as a response to Lycan. Defending the towers, has the overgrowth against Lycan's army. Place once again for Ice Blast. Quincy's lineup has a lot of magic damage and no physical component whatsoever right now. So that is something their follow-up 2 picks probably have to solve. As far as LG go, I wonder what they're thinking. Batrider looks like a potential next pick, but they do have 3-4, right? Now, if they want.
Yeah, but this is going to be, not to change the subject temporarily, Sinner, but as my style. In terms of the matchup between the, it's going to be fun to watch LGD actually playing with all the games we've cast basically in the last Zhao Wei mid, Spirit Breaker. I'm going to miss that. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to miss the Spirit Breaker mid, but we get to see them in actual full strength. Many people like yourself are not expecting them to mid result of having to play with somebody else. And then Quincy Crew's side, I just want to mention one thing because I feel like it's under the radar. LOA, also known as SVG, I genuinely think is one of the smartest people in the entire scene. They've had so much time to prepare for this, so expecting
Disruptor.
But like I said, they're gonna lose. I said that.
All right. A Disruptor grabbed here from LGD. Yeah, it works pretty well with Wisp. If you see any sort of glimpse, you can relocate on that. You also prefer to set up now.
5 seconds
LGD,
left.
I feel like they had one really standout game that impressed me so much. I think you know which game I'm talking about, where they had to split push a lot with an anti-mage.
Yep.
Do you remember that game? I'm getting like vibes of that here just because their lineup's team fight is pretty lackluster, but they have like this very strong ability to push out waves with Lycan, with Ember Spirit, and then if they force rotations, that's where their supports really shine, is when it's not 5v5 skill fights, but like more skirmishy, more scrappy play. And don't get me wrong, if LGD set it up, it's probably not out of a scrappy nature by chance. That it's a very deliberate way of trying to navigate the map.
It's Radiant's ban now.
Terrorblade. Okay.
Oh. More Terrorblade action. Great to see. I mean, from LGD's side, they have a ton of mobility. Kind of touched on it.
Yeah. Don't want to brute force them down here.
It kind of doesn't even matter.
10 seconds.
Seems like Quincy's mentality here is, okay, we recognize what the strength of your lineup is. We are going to pick a carry that gets some farm, and then we... Terrorblade is one of the few carries that can kind of mat Lycan in pushing speed. Both heroes are just hitting towers. Terrorblade pushes very quickly.
Dire's turn to
What happened to Spectre? I was expecting a lot of teams. Small sample size so far.
Small
but...
sample. Don't worry.
No, I'm not concerned, but not worried.
They could have picked Spectre too for Quincy. There's actually multiple heroes here that could have been good, right? You could also see Phantom Lancer pick in this game.
10 seconds.
Phantom Rush against IO, against Lycan, decent hero against Ember Spirit. It's like it goes both ways, that matchup for me, because Ember traditionally can do well against the PL with all his AoE damage, but at the same time, when PL has enough items, it goes up if he's and PL flat out just destroys this run. You have a static storm.
Radiant's turn to ban.
There's a Spectre ban though.
Okay.
So they are respecting that out of Hammer here. Through. Would imagine the second ban is maybe some more common pairing with IO. Chaos Knight is not that good. Sven
10 seconds.
Gyro is banned.
It's Dyer's banned.
What are we even looking at?
You know, that's the camera
Radiant
for
banned.
everybody's looking at you. Go into the menu.
That's
Yep,
true.
There you go. Well done.
There you go.
Very perfect. This is a TI-10 broadcast, by the way.
My bad. I
Brought
used
to you
the
by Cinderin.
wrong monitor.
Has lapses in judgment all the time.
Our observer, JJ, unfortunately went into the menu there a little bit. Sorry about that.
10 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so
you want to check his win rate with
5
Spectre?
seconds.
no, I was gonna get inspiration for carry heroes. Sometimes just looking at all the hero overview can be pretty helpful. But now we do have. Now I am going to look at it correctly, Shannon. Thank you for pointing out that I was making a mistake there. Luna is in.
Okay.
Not good against Terrorblade. Do they actually do the crazy?
I mean, with IO, it
Dyer's
obviously reduces
turn
the
to
amount
pick.
of heroes that would...
Faceless Void.
Okay. I mean, that's not the traditional setup
No,
for sure. But,
definitely not.
I mean,
yeah.
how is their setup in general for Chrono?
It's
a bit
not
lackluster.
right. It's not the best synergy with Lycan either. But I guess you're just looking at okay, what's left? Right?
10
like so
seconds.
many carries are banned. The ones that are in are not very good against Terrorblade for the most
5
part.
seconds left.
So they're gonna go for the Void. They have a bit of synergy with Chrono into Static Storm, of course. Emperor can deal decent damage from outside Chrono, even though he's Lycan.
Choose your hero.
Quinn Leshrac. Very high pressure lineup for Quincy here. You've got the Leshrac to take towers together with Terrorblade. You have insane mid-game team fight with Sand King Train AA. On the side of LGD, it's more like we talked about, more skirmishy in nature. We're splitting the map style. Very curious to see this play out. These two strategies are completely different. They're basically almost polar opposites in what they do, with the exception of Chrono helping out a little bit in the team department. I like Quincy's draft though. I think it's very good in this game. LGD have to offer, so for your sake, we're gonna call the loss for Quincy.
10 seconds.
Trying to jinx. But either way, I think this is going to be a really, really interesting game
5 seconds left.
on a strategic level. I love drafts like this where the two teams have totally different strategies because it makes it so much more interesting to watch because they have to think about the game differently.
Is there, I know different strategies, but is there a time of the game that respective team is looking forward to for their power spikes, so to speak?
I think it's hard to just identify like a time for me here because like for Quincy, their lineup is online relatively early. Leshrac gets some levels, Terrorblade gets one item, then you can push and fight, and it feels like LGD can't. So it's not really about the time as much as it's about the timing in the game where, okay, do we force the right hero rotation? It's about finding holes in the plot basically from Quincy, right? Like there's very clear, all right, we're gonna go, we're grouping up, we're taking this and this. If we manage to pull back Leshrac or Terrorblade or even Sand King, pull them back to defend a tower, that's when we can make a smoke move, we can just relocate, we can just like an ulti and make things happen. It's a lot about like high skill map dynamics, basically of pushing waves correctly without getting caught and reading moves. Those kind of strategies I would not advise for like tier. I think, for example, the lineup that LGD is playing right now.
Are you guys gonna play the game?
Where am I?
Spelled my name wrong.
Did they capitalize it incorrectly?
They capitalized the F incorrect.
Oh, no.
I actually haven't tried it in game, so wow.
Oh no.
Thank you, LOA, for bringing that to my attention. I will definitely bug report this to Valve themselves after this game.
They used your voice line though. That's great.
Yeah, that's one.
That's free advertisement right there. That's good. Guys, make sure you get Sunset's autograph.
Yep. Cinderin's as well. It's not as good.
Oh, nice.
But,
You said I thought you weren't gonna.
And
say
I
it.
guess Pimp.
You-
Pimp's a pretty good observer. He's okay.
Get JJ's as well.
He's one of the 3 best.
Get
Right?
JJ's while you're.
out of 3. But he, he plays a lot of Dota as we
Yeah.
went over. Okay, so
30
LGD
seconds to
versus
battle.
Quincy Crew.
But feel free to
These
start
teams
killing
have actually
before
played twice.
We're not
Only 2
sticks.
games, I should say. LGD 2-0'd them, and I believe wasn't that Ana Major? I'm trying to remember exactly. It met up at another past that, but if I remember correctly, it was relatively close game.
About the
Impossible.
timing in the game where, okay, do we force, if we manage to pull back Leshrac, or like high skill map dynamics, maybe of pushing waves correctly without getting caught, and reading moves. Those kind of strategies I would not advise for like tier. I think, for example, the lineup that I'm playing right now.
Glory awaits.
Where am I?
They spelled my name wrong.
Did they capitalize it incorrectly?
They capitalized the F incorrect.
Oh, no.
I actually haven't tried it in game, so wow.
Oh no.
Thank you, LOA, for bringing that to my attention. I will definitely bug report this to Valve themselves after this game.
They used your voice line though. That's great.
Yeah, that's one person.
That's free advertisement right there. That's good. Guys, make sure you get Sunsfan's autograph.
Cinderins as well. It's not as good.
Oh, nice.
But,
You said. I thought you weren't gonna.
and
say
I guess Pimp.
You-
Pimp's a pretty good observer. He's okay.
Get JJ's as
He's
well.
one of the 3 best.
Get
right?
JJ's while you're.
out of 3. But he plays a lot of Dota as we
Yeah.
went over. Okay, so
30
LGD
seconds to
versus
battle.
Quincy Crew.
Feel free to start
These teams
killing
have
before
actually
then.
played twice.
We're not
Only 2
sticks.
games, I should say. LGD 2-0'd them, and I believe wasn't that Ana Major? I'm trying to remember exactly. It met up at another past that, but if I remember correctly, it was relatively close games.
Was it? You're saying it was at the Animator they met?
I think so.
That was LGD's standout dominance tournament.
Yeah.
They were so good in that.
Pretty sure. So either way, yeah, Quincy Crew has something to prove for sure, and like you said, this is their first respective matches from each respective team. So definitely want to get off to good starts. As the
3 runes
wow,
for LGD.
PSG LGD with 3 runes.
Let's look at lane matchups. Leshrac versus Ember, I think, is slightly Leshrac favored, but not by a lot. A lot of it comes down to Ember's usage of Flame Guard to handle the incoming magic damage harassment track, and obviously with Light of Fist dodges Split Earth. Both doing pretty well here.
By the way, Ame very late and transitioning to top lane right
Yep,
now.
they're gonna do tri-lane top and play Lycan solo bottom.
Wow.
Tri
Tri-lane
versus
with Void.
both teams tri-laning here.
Yeah.
Very, very unusual and interesting.
Is this
That sounded so sarcastic, but it wasn't.
very interesting gameplay? That would have been a good voice line. You should have done. You should have done your robot voice line. So sorry, you were saying who wins this matchup typically? The Lesh versus Ember?
I think slightly Lesh favored.
Okay.
Right now it's going, oh, Leslau taking a lot of damage top. He will be okay. They're gonna TP. Okay, so first to rotate will be Quincy. They're gonna rotate up Treant to Leslau up here, but already Faith Beyond having a much better start than the Sand King in top lane. Actually getting almost, what's this? Is this almost the first 2 full waves? He's 7 CS, 1v3 bottom, off an absolutely awesome start given the circumstance. And now this top tri-lane for me is going to be very interesting to watch, just because it's so uncharacteristic. Like,
Instant D ward too.
what kind of a tri-lane is this? Disruptor IO Void. It's very different.
Well, we talked about how Void, used to be one of the worst laners in the entire game. He's decent now.
Yeah.
Time dilation at the very least has been like micro buffed constantly throughout the last X amount of months, however long it's existed.
Yeah.
I don't think you get more than 1 still.
Generally not, no.
There's the idea
Oh,
of playing it
1-4.
as support where you max it out and it's actually relatively good. But
pretty legit
then you're playing
sometimes.
support as Void, which could be a hit or a miss, I guess. Make sure you have the right neutral item equipped. Be ready for whatever drops.
Or a little lost peak.
So what is your reasoning for Quincy Crew being top 4 or bottom 2? You're talking about in just group? TI?
In groups.
Stings.
In the group.
Oh.
No,
Okay,
oh, you thought it meant TI in general?
Yeah, I thought you
No.
meant TI.
It was
Okay.
for the group, which, I mean, how bold of a prediction is that really? That just means they don't get 5th, 6th, 7th,
Yeah.
right?
Not that big.
It's not like that bold. I just, they don't strike me as a team middle of the pack because of what we talked about earlier. They can have very polarizing performance. Really, really well executed strategies and planning. I think especially SVG is very good at laying out a game plan before the game even, like the draft even begins.
Yeah.
Great standout example for me was their series against Vici Gaming at the Ana Major, where in game number 1 they absolutely stomped them with a Venomancer strategy that no one was playing. They just had this read that Vici Gaming plays slow, they play this kind of style, this is how we're going to attack it, and it's going to... And it did. I think they lost the series the next 2 games though, but that one game was very well prepped. And in group stages, that matters a lot. You come in with a well-prepped game and you win the first game, that's already awesome, right? Like, then the worst possible outcome is a draw at that point.
Right. Especially when you're going up against a team that many are picking to win TI entirely
Right.
in LGD.
So with that in mind, I feel like that when the prep is right, when the plays click points, it can
Radiant's
look amazing.
courier
But
is
then they
dead.
also have these drop the
Wonder
ball
what
games and
idiot
moments.
got
That
him.
also happened at the end. They had, I think it was a game against, I want to say it was either SG or I think it was no ping.
No ping.
Which was so scrappy, and they were not happy.
That
I
was
think they won the
that was
series
the
2-1.
shard game. The infamous shard game where they left it in the pit.
Yeah, they won the series 2-1, but looked very unimpressive while doing that. And then the next day, they just crushed Vici Game 1.
And I
right?
believe that was the series where the meme of Quinn was taken, right? The picture of his face, I believe. Because maybe that's the next series. At the animator, regardless. You're going to see Kinetic Field into MSS right now. Ame applies some pressure here with the Thunder Strike from Innocence, aka Y as well. Ame to the other side with the Time Walk, apparently. Will be using the taunt around the rock. Very important to show that did not make a mistake. More hotkeys, apparently.
Yeah, maybe you could set up your hotkeys before the game starts.
So that's a thought.
I'm ready for the word.
These are micro pauses, and
That's true. They're very quick at fixing.
so Faith Beyond, after getting that entire wave like you talked about, has dropped off a bit compared to everybody else, but that's to be expected because, right, Lycan in lane these days with the Wolves, what is the difference between, this is going to sound weird, between Lone Druid? Like, the Wolves are much more susceptible to damage, but are you getting as many last hits as a Lone Druid would, in theory?
Well, one of the differences is the Lone Druid had Bear.
Yeah,
and
the
these
Bear
are
is stronger,
wolves.
generally.
That's probably the biggest difference, honestly, so there's different animals.
What if you could equip items on the Wolf?
So they look like bears.
No, like... you got
Oh, you didn't mean cosmetics.
yeah, actual items, yes. Courier's going to be taken out by LOA.
Well, the main difference is, so they have a lot of magic resist, but they have very low health, so physical right clicks, you can kill them very easily.
Yeah.
The Lone Druid Bear has a lot more health, but also way bigger bounty. Killing the bear compared to wolves is a lot more value, but also...
Especially because wolves are in packs. Bears don't work together.
Yeah.
Unless they're related. Not sure where I was going with that one. LOA is going to get pressured now, right? With Shin Q attached to a wolf, so he's part of the pack right now. And LOA takes so much damage. Yawar, you can see on the Terrorblade for now. In terms of CS, doing quite well for himself. As Y is going to get caught out. The grasp is there from MSS. Quinn with the split art not quite in range. As a result, Y will live. But mid lane, Quinn 30 and 8. Nothing to say. Basically,
Now both
So
heroes
wash.
finding Quinn is out of mana.
yeah,
He's
but
dead.
LOA is here to try to save the day. Gets the cold feet off. Nothing to say. Trying to get the last. Can he get? Oh, just out of range, and the first blood goes to LOA. Oh my goodness! All planned by Quinn, I'm sure.
Oh, I thought Quinn juked off to the right in the trees and went...
It's actually a fitting line for that. It's actually so fitting. So let's see. When does he come out of Fog of War here? Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Well, he couldn't have gotten juked. You saw him, right?
I think he just missed.
Not very good targeting.
Radiant's top tower's under attack.
But he knew he was dead either way, so it's just trying to get that first blood before he goes down.
I think it's completely fine to go for it. But a little bit of a misstep, I think, earlier got him out of range. After through the 3 remnants, he probably stayed on top of the Lesh better. But nice response as well from SV there, or Sarkway as it's called, to grab that kill. Wow.
Oh, yeah, a lot of name change. Leslau was Lelis, so if you hear that, that's the reasoning. The bash come online for Ame. He's going for Mask of
Dire's
Madness.
middle tower's in trouble.
I mean, are you expecting anything crazy out of the build here? We see a lot of Maelstrom. I don't know if you go Maelstrom and Mask of Madness. And then you take apart Mask of Madness later for Satanic.
Yeah,
and
Void needs a farming item. Mask of Madness is... and Maelstrom is also a really good item against Terrorblade, right?
Yeah.
You want that...
Radiant fortified your
Oh,
structures.
Quinn might get caught
Pretty
out.
good move if you ask me.
Just on the right side of the kinetic field. Keep in the vicinity with those Spirit Balls. Trying to keep this siege alive just for a couple more right clicks. Ball here. A lot of damage done to the tower though. Half HP. Minutes.
Unexpected that the Leshrac tower is half HP and per towers. Usually Leshrac is dominating the lane as much as possible. Get any power rune and tower.
Oh, TP coming in. It's gonna be Ame. He is level 6, gets the Chronosphere off. Faith Beyond is in wolf form, so he's gonna get a couple, like literally one right click off with that Chronosphere. Eloy takes a couple of Jinkyu on the other side now. Attached to a Centaur right now. Yuar's gonna get hoof stomped. Ame in vicinity as well. Faith Beyond. Looks like they're gonna get this kill until Yuar does not have Sunder yet. He's only level 5.
Under attack.
Sets will TP out to safety, so nice rotations here from LGD.
Really cool synergy with IO and... You remember how core IOs used to Helm of the Dominator so they could dominate a creep and then fly around the map?
Yeah, like a wolf.
What if you're like flying wolves? What if you just have a friend that flies
Radiant's top
instead?
tower's about to topple.
Plays with
Dire's
Lycan's
bottom tower is under attack.
Lycan used ulti. IO is also haste.
They obviously share control, right?
Yeah,
Tower's
probably.
under
Right?
attack.
You would imagine that they just share control and playing the... This is a really cool synergy just because this was nerfed a lot where the Dom with IO
Radiant's
used to
top
staff
tower
thing.
has fallen.
It's quite a bit slower now.
But now when you use Lycan ult, it's like the old IO.
That's true.
Just have that creep be hasted.
That's a good point. Stomp's going to connect
cool.
onto LOA, but nothing's really followed up with, at least not
A
yet.
lot of damage though. Nothing
Quinn,
to say. Double damage rune.
Quincy feels like they want to fight, but maybe a little bit hesitant right now.
Definitely getting the top tier tower though. This is a very early offlane tower. 8 minutes 30.
That's true. We see so many games where they get 2 racks and that tier 1 is still top, right?
Look at Ame here, bud. I'm hitting this
right
guy
on the edge, too.
Whatever.
So the fact that Chrono caught Yuar is why he
Dire's
had
middle
to
tower is under attack.
definitely would have gotten out. Yeah, that's good stuff. Good synergy for sure.
Now they're pushing mid, and well, it looks like MSS wants to defend, but
Yeah.
he gets caught.
All right, Burrow Strike from Leslau. Looks like Y's going to take the brunt of the damage here and will fall as a result. MSS, Thunder Strike might tick him out. He's going to be next to the trees here as Jinkyu. Looks like he's going to get brought down by Quinn instead, so MSS somehow lives through that, but 2 support kills in favor of Quincy Crew.
Great defense.
And now you can heal up the tower.
You have training. Really important.
Dire's putting the hurt on Radiant's middle
Investing
tower.
all of his living armor cooldowns into this tower.
Talk to me about Sand King as a hero right now, because it kind of dropped off the map the last, I want to say, last few years, and then this last year it's kind of been brought back as an offlaner in a lot more games.
He received a couple of buffs, and tanking ult going to him is he has this great ability to the towers from 10.
Dire's bottom
And
tower.
something that
Don't
will always
look
be
good.
good in Dota, it's stun. Something that sets up a fight. See weakness when you find a moment of unity. Sand King is one to capitalize. And then on top of it, he also has fight ability.
And the fact that
I think conceptually the hero has always been good. It's just about the
Dire's middle tower is under
how big of a
attack.
deal is the fact that you don't channel it anymore? It's just a cast time.
It helps. That's nice. Feel good to make it to make a reaction come out. And tower again.
Yeah.
Really want this tower.
Quincy Crew might have to give it up. The siege is in the vicinity. We'll continue to pound upon it.
Dire
And yeah,
structures
we're not in
are
position now, but there's a fort just to delay it a little bit longer, and you get the refresh, of course.
Dire's middle tower
killed.
looks to be disintegrated.
Finally, as power goes the way of TSG.
Radiant's top tower's about
Right.
to topple.
Closing in on Holy Locket with I wonder who he's primarily going to. Right now it's later on in the game I suppose flat out play with Ame is expected. So big surprise there.
Oh, and he got the great neutral item choice as well. Again, I say choice. You just have to pray correctly.
It's a lot worse than it used to be, right? Now that it's the flat lifesteal instead of percentage.
Well, you don't keep it past tier 1.
Right.
But it's still good.
It's good.
During
It's
this time.
It's 7 agi.
Faith Beyond. Into the enemy jungle he goes. He's going to pop that ult just to try to get away. You can see the static storm applied. Only the one right now in the kinetic field. LOA's ult is coming out. Basically just clips Y, but ends up getting cleaned up as a result. Ooh, Faith Beyond. Get out. It's a 1-for-1. Looks like MSS gets brought down by Faith Beyond himself. Looks like probably a wolf did too. Oh, goodness. There's a centaur thing. Oh, okay.
It was a bear.
That's close enough.
We've talked about this Lycan cost, by the way. We both love it. The wolf form.
Yep.
Unusable.
Very cool indeed. Thank you for bringing it up during a TI-10. This was a TI-10
I thought you were gonna love this.
non-sponsored cosmetic talk.
You love talking about.
I do. They're fun. So almost done with his lads into the helm of the Overlord. Has the tomato creep right now. I think one change they need to make with the